City Council meeting to order. Invocation will be led by Vice Mayor Wilson and the pledge by Councilmember Struble.
Heavenly Father, we want to express our continued thanks for the additional rain and snowpack in the northern part of our state. We look forward to our overabundance of wildflowers this coming spring. We also look forward to some returning of warmer temperatures, but these cooler weather remind us as to why we've moved here. We ask for your continued guidance for us and our staff as we address city business. We strive to keep this a great city to live, work, perform business, and raise a family. We ask for your protective hand for our first responders as they continue to protect us, our lifestyle, and our possessions. We extend this to our military members and their families wherever they are serving throughout the world. Bring them all home safe each and every day. In the Lord's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Sturdy,
Here.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes, I'm here.
Councilmember Barker,
Here.
Councilmember Evans,
Here.
Councilmember Rizzi,
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Present.
Councilmember Struble.
Here.
All members present. You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes?
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Mayor Sturdy,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Do we have any announcements? Gail?
Lately, I've been doing a lot with the homeless population in Apache Junction and working with the city and several other organizations trying to find some resolution of what we can do to best serve the people within our area. And we did just finish up our point-in-time count here in the city, and the preliminary number showed that we had 88 people considered homeless, which is up about 28% from last year, which is the first year that we did an actual physical count. 29 of those people lived in their car or camper, and 56 lived outside in the desert behind a building or town. So we see a lot of people out on the street, and sometimes it appears that we have a lot larger population than what we actually have, but there are several groups that are working very hard to get the most services together for these people to get the help they need if they want the help. Out of the 88 people, 69 had a disability that could be medical, mental, or a substance abuse. So getting them to the services that they need are the most important in getting them into some kind of housing capacity. So it's not as bad as some of us anticipated it being, but we have a problem just like every other city, town, county in the United States. So that's it.
Oh, wow. So I just want to recognize the people that ran the Lost Dutchman Day Marathon. What a great event, and that it brings focus on Apache Junction and Gold Canyon in our area. This year, my three sons were able to run. They ran the whatever the 6-mile one or whatever it was like that. And they really had a great time, had nothing but praise for the organizers and the people that put it on and how well organized it was. And they're looking forward to running next year and all that. Just following up with what Councilmember Evans spoke out there. There's a group of kids out in Peralta Trail Elementary called the Building America Club that did a project this past, a couple weeks ago. They put together and planned and implemented and ran a talent show for the kids out there, and their whole purpose was that at the beginning of the project was to do a service project for the community. And so they did this to raise money, but they also learned how to go through the process and everything, and they raised money, and they're going to be giving it to help the less advantaged people in the city. And so it's just one of those other things that shows that what our kids in our community are doing to make our communities better.
Chip?
Yeah, in the following up on the kind of what was being said, that it was the school was, what school was it? Peralta School, the 5th grade, had gone out and read a challenge from the different schools on gathering the most food given to a food bank, and had the opportunity to go out and see our mayor sitting in a seat and a bunch of kids having the opportunity, with the ones that won the most number of weight-wise for the donations. And the mayor got a little bit of shaving cream all over his face. And it was fun to watch, and all these kids and how excited they were. They also had pizza, and they were all excited about the pizza, but they couldn't wait for the mayor to get there.
It was fun. Krista?
Just wanted to remind everybody that we were finally able to get the survey link out to vote for the light and decorating competition that took place last December. That's going to go till the end of February. The winner of that will be announced on March 1st. You can find the link on our Apache Junction Focal Point and Tourism Committee page on Facebook. Please vote. Some of those folks really went all out to decorate, and so we're excited to get that awarded. And then also coming up, we have our Lost Dutchman Days Parade and celebration, our rodeo coming up, and there's going to be a lot of festivities, so make sure and come out. The parade, a lot of times our businesses put out chairs. Some of the businesses do tailgate parties with some free food, and we'll have probably a few vendors and food trucks along the trail, so come out and watch that parade. And just wanted to thank Parks and Rec for the awesome job they do, and all the volunteers for that marathon. That is run like a well-oiled machine. They have it down to a science, and they do an amazing, amazing job. So thank you.
Robin, did you have any?
No, I just want to reiterate, thanks to the Marathon Committee. I volunteered this weekend, probably shouldn't have, but I did. And we filled out the full marathon, had it completely full. We have a total of 400 possible, and we had 410 at one point, hoping that this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think it's a great thing that we do. I really do.
Thank you. So yes, the marathon and it's two of our biggest events, the marathon and Lost Dutchman Days. So all over the city, encourage everyone to come out. And I want to thank everyone that helped to work on the state of the city and those that attended. If you didn't attend, Bryant, are the videos now up on our city website?
That is correct. All the videos are out on the city website or Facebook page.
As well as on YouTube
Yeah.
now. So the first little video is kind of boring. It's about council and how we got here, but the second one shows off the city. And we're already planning next year, so hopefully it'll be bigger and better. So city manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bryant Powell, City Manager. Just wanted to add some data to the numbers that we're seeing on the marathon. Huge success, record turnouts. But before we go there, just a huge thank you to our Public Works, Parks and Rec, Police Department, who make this go so well, and they coordinate with so many different partner groups in the community to make it happen. The race ended up having a 20% increase in registration this year over last year, and the reviews are stellar as they're coming in over 3,000 runners, plus their family and friends were all out cheering them on. And we also had over 800 volunteers that helped make this happen. And as a reminder to the community, every dime of profit or net revenue comes in goes to local youth charities, which is a huge plus, which is unique than any other marathon. We were also told, Liz Legenbach, our Parks Director, reports that through our race timing company, they also do the Patch Run and some others, that the Patch Run and the Mesa Phoenix runs were the only ones that had numbers across the state that were increasing in terms of participation, and that others like the Rock and Roll were down a little bit. So to us, this is a beautiful, beautiful event, and to us, this is one of those signature events that puts us on the map and makes Apache Junction even more noticed. And that concludes my report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Public hearing for consideration of application for special event liquor license for Apache Junction Chamber of Commerce. Kathy Conley.
Yes, Your Honor, and you've got this is the first in a series of liquor licenses you have on your agenda tonight. This first one is, the applicant is the Chamber of Commerce. It's in conjunction with an event at Flatiron Park on March 16th. You have 2 extra pages in front of you that were not included in your original package, pages 2 and 4. They are of no great significance, but we felt that you should have them. In your package, you have comments from Planning Division, Police Department, Building, and the Fire District, all of whom recommend approval. And the applicant was notified of the hearing tonight and asked to be present should you have any questions.
Would the applicant like to speak and tell us what this is about?
Hello, Mayor and City Council. I'm Heidi Galdas-Young from the Chamber of Commerce, and the application will be for a one-day event, March 16th, Brews and Blues at Flatiron Community Park.
Any questions for the applicant?
Have you,
Yeah.
Where can people get tickets for this event?
At the Chamber of Commerce and online and Groupon.
What about the day of the event? Can you just walk up?
Yes, you may also walk up as well, but we do encourage people to buy tickets in advance for flow of traffic.
speaking of that, have you increased the number of porta potties?
Yes, we have increased the number of porta potties
Okay.
and food trucks as well.
Last year, there were some upset people about craft beer that ran out. Is that going to be
That
different?
will not be an issue. 30 taps,
Okay.
yeah.
Good problem to have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion? This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item? You can wait till after, or Mr. Chavez, if you want to speak now, would be a good time.
Good evening. My name's John Chavez. I'm with AM Events and Entertainment, and we're the production company that works in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce for the festival. This is the 3rd annual one. We're just pleased as can be to be here in Apache Junction. This event has huge possibilities to draw people from all over the state, all over the country, turn into a multi-day event, and really showcase beautiful Apache Junction. So, thank you.
Thank you. And it should be warmer, too.
It probably now just got a heat wave, Mayor.
So this is a public hearing. Would anyone else like to speak on this item?
Mayor, City Council, James Bork, 1054 East Roosevelt. I'd like to know where the money's going. I must have missed something. Is this for a charity? Is this just, where's the money going?
Would
Can we
anyone
bring
else
Heidi
like
back
to-
up, or?
No.
Or Mr. Chavez?
Yeah, the applicant should respond to that.
Funding will go towards the Chamber of Commerce, who funds the scholarship funds for children here in Apache Junction. We are splitting it with the other participants in the event, which is Handlebar and also the Apache Greyhound, as we are subcontracting the liquor portion because we are not equipped to pour liquor.
Okay,
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
yes.
Will this event be put on by the Apache Junction Chamber of Commerce or the Superstition Region Chamber of Commerce? And how will it be
Currently,
labeled?
the Apache Junction Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any discussion? So one thing about using Flatiron Park is it does belong to the city, and different profits can be made there. This is unlike the BLM lands, where every little bit has to go back to charity. So,
Absolutely. That has been the intent and goal for Downtown 2020, Vision 2020, these different plans. You want to have vibrant, active type of energy that's going on in the downtown, and that this type of a situation, we have a park like this that allows for this process, and we're learning and we're growing, and Mr. Chavez said it's got potential. We're still learning how to best do it.
and we've already closed the hearing, but I think some of these bands get paid too, I think. So some of the money goes back to pay for the performers, so.
Excuse me. You need to come.
we can,
The public, you close the public
Yeah,
hearing?
we closed the hearing, so, okay. I will ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes,
I move that the application for a special event liquor license submitted by the Apache Junction Chamber of Commerce for a single-day event on Saturday, March 16th, 2019, at Flatiron Community Park, 100 North Apache Trail, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Second.
roll call.
Councilmember Barker?
Yes.
Councilmember Struble?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Surtee?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Consideration of application for an interim permit, new Series 12 liquor license for Los Gringos Locos. Kathy?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a dual application. It's for an interim permit as well as a new license because there are new owners of Los Gringos Locos, which is located on South Phelps Drive. In your package, you have recommendations of approval from the Fire District, the Police Department, Planning Division, and Building Division. And the applicant was asked to be present tonight in the event you have any questions.
Is the applicant here, and would they like to present? I do not see an applicant. Is there any discussion among the council? Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes,
I move that the application for an interim permit and a new Series 12 liquor license for Los Gringos Locos, 280 South Phelps Drive, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Second.
Second.
roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Barker?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Struble?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Surtee?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Consideration of application for special event liquor license for the Boys and Girls Club of the East Valley Superstition Mountain Branch. Kathy?
Yes, Your Honor. And again, this is a one-day special event liquor license requested by the Boys and Girls Club. It's for their annual fundraising event, which will be April 16th at Dolce Vita. You do have a minor addition to what they submitted earlier. You have a new diagram, and the only difference is they added in this corner here that they do have like a bar set up in that large meeting room. In your package, you have recommendations of approval from the Fire District, Police Department, Planning Division, and Building Division. And the applicant was asked to be present this evening in the event you have any questions. And
Would anyone like to speak on this from the
Russell
applicant?
Russell's here.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. This is our 21st annual? 21st annual yesteryear event. The money raised goes to help fund the kids here in Apache Junction and help scholarship those that can't afford to be at the club. I guess first, my name's Russell St. John, branch manager of the Boys and Girls Club. I did forget to say that. So,
Connie Lane Van Driel, President of the Board of Directors for the Boys and Girls Club and Chairman of the event. It is our 21st annual event, and all monies raised at the event stay in Apache Junction and go towards our children here. So it's a fun time, and we do have tickets available online. We encourage the public to come, and we just happy to be here and happy to do this for our kids here in Apache Junction.
What is the theme this year?
The theme is Western.
Any more questions for the applicant?
I just had a comment, Your Honor. Just wanted to point out, you had mentioned how the funding that you raised for this stays in Apache Junction, and that's so important that we pay attention to our local charities and keep everything local. We appreciate it. We know how much this planning is almost a year-long process, and we really appreciate all the volunteers, all the board members that and staff that put this on. It's a great event for anybody that's never been. You got to come out. It's always a great time. They have costumes people can wear and judge, but thank you. Thank you for doing that for our kids in our community.
Thank you. Any discussion among council?
This is a public.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the application for a special event liquor license for the Boys and Girls Club of the East Valley, Superstition Mountain Branch, for April 6, 2019, at Dolce Vita, 3301 South Goldfield Road, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Consideration of application for permanent extension of premises for Handlebar Pub and Grill, 650 West Apache Trail. Kathy?
This is an application we've not had in a while. It's for a permanent extension of premises. This is for the area that is to the east of the main Handlebar location. In your packet, you have recommendations of approval from the Planning Division, Building Division, Police Department, and the Fire District. The applicant is aware of the recommendation from Rudy to maybe combine lots in the future. The applicant was notified of tonight's hearing in the event you have any questions.
Is the applicant here? We would like to hear from you.
Candace Polzak from the Handlebar Pub and Grill. It's a permanent extension that we've been working on for about a year and a half now, so it's been a long process, but we're almost there. We're very excited. We have purchased both of those lots, so our goal is to combine them both into one in the future. It's an extension of the patio with some added bathrooms. There's not really going to be food service out there. It's more for events if people have parties, like we have a large birthday parties or retirement parties or things like that. We have space for that now. And then a game area. So we plan to put ping pong tables in there and maybe a shuffleboard table and fun stuff.
Great. It was such a yucky building before, and you've made it blend into your other facade
It's
very
getting
well.
there. It's getting there.
Yes. Any more questions for Candace? So, is it open now?
No,
or
it is
so?
not. It is not ready to go. So at the end of this month, everything will be ready to go except the power that we are redoing, and we're putting it underground. we've had some issues with that, getting that all finished and done, so that's probably gonna be 2 to 3 weeks out. So I don't know how that works from here exactly, whether I need to, if you approve it and then when that's finished, I go to the state, or do I need to come back?
You can, once you pick up the approved and signed application, you can take that to the state.
Okay, and then just wait for the final, yes, you can move in from the
That would
from the
come
city,
from the
right?
state. Yep.
Okay, great.
Well, the building clearance would come from the city, but on the liquor license, that would come from the state.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Any discussion on council? This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item?
I just want to say,
Would you
as a
need your name again?
John Chavez, AM Events, and as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and this is a terrific business. This is exactly why I'm here in Apache Junction with the festival, and really looking to make this our second home, because they epitomize everything that we're looking for in a great business. The Handlebar Pub and Grill, just terrific people, and I support it 100%. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I move that the application for a permanent extension of premises for Handlebar Pub and Grill, 650 West Apache Trail, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Struble?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Barker?
Yes,
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Surtee?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Consideration of application for a bingo license for Rancho Mirage, 2400 East Baseline. Kathy Conley.
Yes, this is my last, I believe it's my last item. Yes, it is. This is a request from Rancho Mirage to put in place a bingo license for their members. You have in your packet recommendations of approval from the Fire District, Police Department, Building Division, and Planning Division. And the next step, and the applicant was notified to be here this evening in the event you have any questions. The next step would be for them to go to the state with their application and file that with the state. And in this case, they filed with the Department of Revenue as opposed to the Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Is the applicant here? Would they like to speak?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name's Carol Little, and I'm from Rancho Mirage, and I am also an activity member within our community. We presently do have bingo. What we are asking the council is for a second license. We have a Class A license, which only allows you to come up to gross receipts of $15,600. Our bingo this year has grown. We've had a lot more people coming, so we're just looking for an extension to carry it to the end of our season, which is towards the end of April, and that's why we're here today.
Any questions for the applicants?
No liquor license, too?
No liquor license.
Might as well throw that out.
No, but it's great to hear all these events are growing.
Yes, it has. This is my third year doing bingo in our community. Carol Fritz did it before myself, and it has grown tremendously this year, and that's what we've been striving for. So it's a good thing.
And it is open to the public.
Yes, it's open to the public, too.
And how big do the pots get?
Excuse me?
How-
Right now, we have, we call it a kaboom, it's a pull-tab ticket, and our coverall. They're at $149, and then we have a consolation prize, sometimes runs $110, $120, depending upon the people. Our last biggest crowd that we had was up to 83. So we're getting up, our goal is to get to 100. So we might hit it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any discussion among the council? This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the application for a bingo license for the Rancho Mirage at 2400 East Baseline, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Revenue.
Second.
Roll call.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes?
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Presentation, discussion, public hearing, and consideration of ordinance number 1463 by Americo Real Estate Company and U-Haul International. Rudy Esquivias.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rudy Esquivias. I'm the senior planner.
Could you hold on for 1 second?
Sure.
I understand that I don't have necessarily a legal conflict, but based on the fact that my husband and I own a U-Haul dealership, I just prefer to recuse myself. Thank you.
Rudy, do you have slides? No, we don't have a presentation this evening, Mr. Mayor. We have received another continuance request from the folks over at Amerco. They did also submit the continuance fee. You may recall from your meeting back in November that the public hearing on the zoning case was continued until the P&Z meeting of last week, which was the 9th, and the city council meeting of tonight, the 16th. However, the applicant is still looking over some of the issues involved with right-of-way construction and some of the other tentative conditions that we've requested in the rezoning. So they've asked for a little more time. Staff is agreeable to it, and we respectfully ask that you continue the rezoning to your meeting of April 16th. But I'd be happy to answer any questions. This was continued as a public hearing, so if there's anybody in the audience who showed up to speak on the issue, please give them the opportunity as well.
Any questions for Rudy? Thank you.
Do you see any major problem that they're looking at, or is it?
I think they're still weighing the construction of the offsites, Idaho and 34th Avenue, and also, of course, the RV storage component was one thing that they were asking for, and you know, both times that we took it to P&Z, and I think even as council, you know, we're not terribly interested in more RV storage, so I think they're still weighing through some of those various issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the applicant is not here, but it is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. So I'm going to ask for a motion, but the motion will just be to continue?
Yes.
So I'll ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that planning development rezoning case PZ-2-18A, request by Americo Real Estate Company, presented by David Polak, be continued to the city council meeting of April 16th, 2019, day after tax day.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi. Nope, I'm sorry, she is abstaining. Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor, with the noted comments by Councilmember Rizzi.
Okay. Presentation, discussion, and consideration of proposed resolution number 19-02, approving the addition of parcel number, a big long number, for Superstition Fire and Medical. Bryant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight's a new business item that came to our attention as we were working with the developer and our fire chief, Mike Farber, who's here tonight, who brought to our attention the little area. And Matt, do you have a way to show where the Kaufman Home subdivision is? Within the yellow. So the yellow in this map indicates the fire district boundaries. And you'll recall a couple months ago, the mayor and council adopted and approved a preliminary plat that moves forward a project that's just south of Baseline Road there. And so when Mike saw that, he called me immediately and said, Bryant, we're gonna have to figure out next steps on how to bring this into the fire district boundaries. And of course, we needed to go to state law, get into some legal work with Joel, and he'll explain a little bit what that did, that brings us here to this point. But the bottom line is it wasn't, and it is not in the fire district boundaries. We've worked closely with the property owner. Property owner is in favor of this action, and the ability to have fire service is high on his priority. I've talked to Mr. Kaufman, and he says absolutely. And then Joel, help me explain, but before they can adopt it, they need a resolution approving this from the local government. Is that your understanding?
That is correct, under Title 48-262I, actually. And if you go to page 7 of the resolution, you will actually see the map, which it's a little different than the one that's on the screen, but it will show the cross-hatching of where, of the territory that will be added to the fire district.
The only other thing I'll add, the other question that came up, Matt, maybe go back, is there are 2 other areas in the city limits where the boundaries are not there yet, and that would be in the Houston Industrial Park, where Matt's at there, and then further north off Meridian on the area that's in Maricopa County, one little spot there. And those would need to be, just like in any annexation that we have, they have to have, these others will be much more difficult because they've got many other property owners versus this one right now who has one property owner on the 40 acres. We're here to answer any questions. I don't know, Mike, Mr. Farber, do you have anything else you want to add to this?
No, sir, I just wanted to.
Come on.
Mayor and council, appreciate the work of Brian Powell and Joel Stern helping with this, but we found the area, the Kaufman area, so 2 other areas we identified as Brian had brought up that we'll be working to annex. The one down by Houston and Ironwood, that's on state land, so that'll be fairly easy for future businesses, but currently the businesses there do not want to be part of the district. So,
Any questions for Mike? Thank you.
thank you.
Any discussion among council? Then I will ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that resolution number 19-02, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, approving the addition of parcel numbers 104-07-001B and 104-07-001C and 104-07-001D into the Superstition Fire and Medical District be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Barker?
Yes.
Councilmember Struble?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Surtee?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Presentation and discussion on fiscal year 18-19 council work plan, second quarter update. I don't see Anna here. Who will do this?
Mr. Mayor, I will. Anna is home sick tonight, so we wish her well. And I've been tasked to cover this presentation for her. This is our second quarter update for the City Council work plan. Naturally, we'd like to remind the connection here that everything we do here at the city, including your legislative work plan, should try to tie to this vision and mission statement, the kind of the foundation of our work here that you as the City Council adopted. As a reminder, there's 40 projects on the City Council work plan. 14 have been identified as legislative items that need to come to you in the second quarter. So we'll go through those now. First, this is one that will continue past the second quarter. I'm sorry, this was continued from the first quarter. He'll now be continued through the second quarter, past the second quarter. So it is our dog park. Currently, the Parks and Rec Commission are, as you read there on the screen, continuing to gather data and community input on making a recommendation to City Council regarding the dog park. Slide floor, the next slide, these are completed projects. As you can see there, we got a lot done. The health and sanitation regulations update, this was your property maintenance code that you adopted in December. If you don't recognize that name, that's what you probably know it by. Your HD conversion here in the council chambers to continue to provide a good environment here for the public to see and participate in the meetings. It was this large screen behind you, these screens for them to see up there, and also the reformat of the screens. They're all widescreen now. And some back-end stuff that helps us record and display to the public in HD out on YouTube and Granicus and things like that. Also, the City Council electronic agenda packets that you now receive on your iPads, and the boards and commissions meeting process improvements. Items that will continue past the second quarter that we're still working on. The City Lease Bureau of Land Management regarding Prospect Park and the rodeo grounds. We continue to work with them. It is in their hands now. We continually follow up with them to ensure that we can continue using those facilities, but also working towards the possibilities of purchasing that land to expand the uses on there. You'll also see in the coming months, Parks and Recreation commercial use for facility fees. This is regarding commercial use in things like the Flatiron Park downtown. And also ending this month, or I should say completing this month, the replastering of the Superstition Shadows Aquatic Center, which is a big accomplishment to a pool that gets utilized quite a bit in the summers and throughout the year by the school. And lastly, we're continuing the zoning ordinance update with some of these other code updates that Development Services Department's been working on. This one kind of fell on the priority list, but they continue to look at it, and you'll see that before the end of the year.
Any questions for Matt?
I don't have any questions, but on number 12, which has to do with the financial management software, that's something that we approved, and the staff is diligently working on getting that implemented. And if I'm understanding right, it'll be sometime in October?
The go-live date goal is November 1st of 2019.
November 1st. And I hope somebody has noticed that we haven't had financial statements for the last 3 months, but that's okay. Part of the issue that the staff has had is because they've had to do a lot of cutting and pasting to get those things out there. And our staff's time is better utilized to get this software up and running so that we can have a more efficient and effective reporting system throughout the whole city and everything that we have. So just want to commend them for what they're doing and looking forward to getting some, we've always had proper and good reports, but just more easily had reports. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Presentation, discussion, and consideration of a code of conduct applicable to the council, board, and commission members. Bryant/Joel.
You can start the Joel. I'll let you start. Your Honor, very quickly, this is a council direction to staff we received to provide for you the best thinking from a staff perspective on some thoughts from other cities and towns. We had a thorough review with you a few weeks ago, and tonight we have presented a red line version for you to see what changes happened based on your input, and then we have a clean line version tonight to consider further or even possibly consider for approval. Joel, anything else?
Just that, I don't know if you want to go through them individually, but there's only 4 pages here, so there's not a lot, but we took your comments as you requested, and I think we addressed everything that everybody wanted. And I want to thank Bryant, Matt, Anna, Al, Kathy, and Liz Langenbach, and Spencer, because they all had input, and we did it very quickly.
Larry.
And Larry also, I'm sorry, and Rudy.
I don't think we need to go through it item by item, but I think several of us have certain ones we want to discuss. Does anyone want to start on that?
I would just like to say I made a couple of requests, and I appreciate the staff changing some of the verbiage just to make it sound better, and I think it'll be easier to implement and to follow in the future.
Yeah, I want to, on section 4, number E, can I have some scenarios on how you would see that happening? Because many times, that's just that there will be no communication between. Now, we just saw where I'm asking applicants to come up. That's because they're on the agenda. So this would be,
Non-agenda.
for instance, we had a couple folks over there that tried to speak. We could not communicate with them. So that would be a perfect example right there. So that's what that means, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And Section 8, about the texting, and it says phone ringers will be off. And of course, we talked about the emergencies, et cetera. A lot of us are on call for certain things, and you never know when more people might be on call with different items. But I think in this world, the way we are now, I think there are times when we may want information where it might be possible to do a text. If it's not disruptive, I do not see a problem with that. It's in Section 8.
So are we talking texting between us, or are you talking about texting and answering a?
Or possibly texting to staff that's, or someone that might have info on something we're discussing. Joel, is there, what's your opinion on that?
Well, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, you mentioned texting between each other. When you're in a public meeting, you should not be texting each other, ever.
Right.
Because everything's supposed to be out in the open. So I wanted to make that point. But I think the way it's phrased, I think you use your common sense that if your phone rings, for example, hopefully it doesn't, but sometimes it does, and if you have an emergency, take the call, excuse yourself from the dais, and I would leave the room. That's what I would recommend, and I've seen that done in many other places. And then you could say, I'm sorry, I have to take this call. That's okay. That's just a social grace. So I don't know if that answers your question.
So does this language, to me, when I read this, it says members may, at meetings, operate a cell phone or other personal device as long as it's city business at hand and not interrupting the appearance of. So I'm reading it, you could.
Well, for instance, in my first term, when I was doing some presentations, there were some things that I forgot. And on 2 occasions, someone in the audience texted me, hey, I forgot this. I was then able to come back and address that. So that was very useful. Otherwise, whatever they did not remind me of would have not gotten out there. So in a situation like that, I don't see a problem. It was very helpful. It was a Chamber of Commerce type situation.
And if you see the revised language in front of you, Mr. Mayor, I think that captures it in that first highlight there.
It says may.
Yeah.
As long as it's not interrupted. So I think that's okay.
So as long as city, and it didn't, I just got a text. Right. Oh, you're right, I forgot it, and I then brought it up. So that's where a cell phone can be helpful.
And when I mentioned the aspect on the texting between us, I was wanting to make sure that we were not discussing the idea of texting between one another.
Yeah.
We were talking about texting from.
Yeah, I don't think that should happen. I mean, we're right here, same way P&Z or any board, they should just talk right now. But it was just for informational purposes of things that we may not have access to. So I'm happy with that one. So Section 10, the litigants, no contact at all. All the boards and commission may not know who's litigating, and people are always seeking information. So there could be some situations there. For instance, Joel, I communicated with you today. I got a call from someone that had a problem with our courts, and he asked me to look into it. I looked into it and forwarded it on to you. That's kind of why I'm asking for this, because certain times it might be, we're the last recourse for the citizens here. where are the representatives of all these citizens? They don't know where to go with this info, so they would contact one of us. We would then follow up with it, which is what I did with you this morning. So that's why I'm addressing this one.
Yes, and that was appropriate. You were taking a call from a constituent. You didn't know what the person wanted, and you referred that person to me, and then I handled the call. That's fine. I mean, technically, that person wasn't a litigant with the city, and I think that's what's intended here. But you didn't know who it was, and I think you handled it appropriately. The intent of this is if the individual board member, commissioner, council member knows that they are a litigant, they should not be talking to him in any way, especially if they're named as individually or as a city. So if you have knowledge of that, then you shouldn't be talking to any of those, because at one day, that person will, and they'll enjoy talking to you. They might tape record you or electronically do it, and then they may want to subpoena you, or they may want to use that against the city, even though they may be your friend now. They may not be your friend later, especially if dollar signs are involved.
Krista, did you?
I did have a couple things. I don't know
Yes.
if anybody else.
Just,
First,
pardon me, Mayor, is it on this particular one, or are we gonna?
If you're
I have
staying on
comments
this
on this
subject?
one, or is it on
not
Councilmember?
specifically.
Well, it looks like Jeff wants to
Okay.
talk about this subject, so.
So I just
stay
want to
here.
make so, it says members shall not communicate in any way, manner, or with the litigant. I mean, it comes down to, we live in a town and we're out and about and everything. I mean, I'm just clarifying this so that we understand this. It pertains to the issue at hand, or if we're walking down the street and we say, how you doing? Or, we're walking down, we're in the parade and we just might happen to see somebody. Are you saying that we can't have any communications, or it's just communications pertaining to the case at hand or an issue that's before the council or the board or commission?
I think social graces are fine. When someone says hello to you, you say hello back. It's common courtesy. But then if they say, hey, what about my case? And of course, that's
Right.
pretty obvious. You don't talk about it.
And then at that point, you say, we can't discuss that here. And
Correct.
blah, blah, blah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're understanding that we can't, we can still be good neighbors and good citizens amongst each other and show some hospitality and such, but we just don't want to be having discussions about litigation or issues that might be pertaining to, that might be coming that we will have to make a decision on, so.
But there is some limitation on that. You can say, hello, how are you? And then that's about it.
Yep.
And then they say, hey, let's go for a beer. I don't think so.
No.
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 Not when they're attempting to sue the city and they're trying to get something out of the city.
Or there might be an issue before the council or the board or the commission that we're gonna have
Yeah.
to decide on. We don't wanna have the
Correct.
impression out there that there is any discussion amongst somebody, so.
And at that point, I think they lose the privilege of further communication.
Right.
And so is there a way to maybe clarify or clean that up even a little bit more? To specifically say, if we're not to have discussions, pretty much what you just said, is there a way to add a little bit to that so that it's not as vague? Specify about whatever's being litigated?
I would recommend at this point that the language stay as is, and then see how this works. See how this whole code of conduct works. And then if you want to bring it back for a revision.
It says not communicate in any manner,
Yeah.
so that's too broad.
I think it is too.
Well, we could strike that, and we could say, except, or we can put a comment, except for social graces. We can do that also.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. I just, because, we're business owners and such things, and we might have, the reason I bring that up is there's got to be some, because we're business owners and they might come in to purchase our services or whatever we're selling, and
Donations.
Yeah,
Donations.
we just have to be. That one just kind of it's too. I'm not quite. It's
Specific.
too specific, too vague as to
Well,
what. So
There's an intent of that. How about in any manner, comma, except for social graces?
or business or
Events.
How about members should not communicate about any pending legal action against the city or the representatives.
Yeah.
Well, once again, I still think you may be talking about other things, but that will lead to the litigation. It always does. That's
Well,
why
let
I
us
caution you.
decide that. You know, it is their right to talk to the representatives. We can't say, we can't represent you, even though you elected this body to represent you as a citizen of the city, but we can't talk to you because you have a problem with the staff or there's a legal action going on. Now, I'm not saying to go up there and start talking about the whole sordid problem, but there should be no reason to where can't go have lunch at a certain place because someone might be there. You know, I just don't think that's not fair to the citizens of the city. We're here for them.
We are, many times, we're the last resort of certain situations. If they feel there's a great wrong being committed, then what is their resort? You don't want them to go out of the city, I wouldn't think, or to the.
Oh, I wouldn't say get.
Well, I guess I guess I'm not saying, well, this is about between council members, board members, commission members, having discussions, and I'm having discussions with people who are bringing issues before the particular board or council or commission. We really have to be wary of having discussions pertaining to those issues, but we can't, as board members, council members, and commission members, those same people will be coming in and visiting our businesses. But we, as the board, council, and commission members, have to be wary of it and understand that we are the ones that have to make the decisions as to when the discussion ends. And all. And if it gets to a point where we go into a business and somebody keeps talking to us, we need to take it upon us to maybe leave.
Well, let's look at, Robin, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
See, Robin has a business where people may want to use her business to run an ad on something, so of course they may, so that you can't just cut off all communication, so.
If I may, how about
I don't
this?
think that reads that way. I think it reads that we use our common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious we're not going to talk to people about a case that's coming before us or if they're in court, et cetera. We're smart enough to know that. And we're smart enough to realize if somebody comes into my office and wants to place an ad, I'm going to talk to them, but not about their case.
Mr. Mayor?
So which is the reason why we need why the first line, members shall not communicate in any manner.
If
So
I
we've
may.
all agreed that that is not good wording.
And if I may just add, you use the Schroeder Amendment. It will say, members shall not communicate, and will strike in any manner, continue on with litigants, and then add in, on any pending litigation, and then strike out who are in pending legal action, and then leave the rest. So I'll read it as if the strikeouts are gone. Members shall not communicate with litigants on any pending litigation against the city or the representatives, be it in person, in writing, by phone, email, Twitter, text, or other social media. How does that sound?
Yeah.
That's better.
That cleans it up.
We'll call that the Schroeder Amendment.
Was that a shot, Joel?
No, that's great. Is that acceptable?
Sometimes looking at it is different than hearing it.
Your Honor, if I-
May I approach, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Put it on the screen.
Want me to put it on the screen?
Put it on the screen.
Your Honor.
Yeah, what are you trying to hide by just showing it to me?
Could have sent it in a text.
But not amongst all of us, though.
Except his phone's a flip phone.
Yeah, right.
No signal.
Yeah, dang it, Mediacom.
While we're waiting, Your Honor, can I make a
Yes.
comment? And so I just wanted to suggest that we We didn't have a work session to go over this yesterday and then use this evening to make a final decision. I would just like to suggest as we go through this that we have another chance at it. Make our corrections and whatnot and bring this back for a final decision. I'm not prepared to make a final decision because I've got other things that I'd like to bring up as well. Just a suggestion.
It's been years, so I think another couple weeks may not matter. So let's see what he's written here.
Any pending.
Litigation against the city or representatives. Yeah.
Might say regarding instead of on.
Excuse me. Okay. With me.
Okay, so that's different. Krista, what else did you want to discuss?
Couple different things. I had a few notes. This could fall under number 4 or under number 13. Basically talking about the members having respect, not talking over one another. One thing I'd like to add, I'm not sure which section it would fall under, but you know, if a board member or a council member asks a staff member a question, it seems a little bit inappropriate for another board member or council member to jump in and answer that question. Sometimes there's reasons why we ask the question. We may already know the answer to it, but we're asking it because it may be something that we want the public to hear the answer to. And so I don't know if there's a way to word that or put that in, but to, you know, just that other members aren't answering the questions that are being asked by individual members. We're allowing the staff the courtesy of answering the question,
Yeah.
not jumping in and answering.
I've seen that. If we ask the attorney, we don't want it answered by a council person. We want to hear from the attorney. And then
Which
maybe the
section was
council
that?
person
Sorry.
afterwards.
She
Which
didn't know
section
which
were you?
one. She
Oh,
was like
you didn't, okay.
4 or
sorry.
13.
13 and 4 were kind of similar.
Okay.
Also under 13, I'm going to jump around, I'm sorry.
You got that, Joel? You can add that to 13 maybe.
Well, 4.
Or even criticism of staff.
While you're looking
Okay,
for that, can I talk on 13 also?
I had a concern about the mingling with
Yeah.
friends in the audience. I think it's a matter of courtesy when the public is here. We're preparing for our meeting to go out and greet the public. I just think it's been a common practice.
I agree wholeheartedly. This is the only time I get to see some people, and the only time they get to see us, so.
And then.
What, I'm sorry, what section
So
was
it's
that?
the last sentence in 13.
Section 13,
13.
where it says
I think we
that
could just
we
say-
shouldn't mingle in the audience.
So you'd like that taken out?
We could just take that sentence out.
I think so.
Okay. It's gone.
I think under number 17, we had this conversation last time we had looked at this. Councilmember Struble had mentioned about questioning staff. Personally, where it starts, it says, "and technically correct," and should not be summarily disregarded or marginalized. I think that should just be taken out. I'd like to see that sentence end, "and technically correct," and leave it at that.
Okay.
I think it is our job to question. That's why we're here. Why would we have boards and councils if we weren't asking questions? That's our job.
Yeah, we're here for oversight.
And so I would like to see that sentence removed.
You talk about the highlighted yellow here, Krista, typically disregarded or marked
Mhm.
in the red line.
Yes,
That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
The red line is gone?
yes. And then,
Yeah, I mean, how many times has council gone completely against P and Z? P and Z will recommend something and then we completely disregard it, so there's a reason why council's disregarded it, even
Well-
though it is a slap in the face to P and Z.
But that's not staff.
Staff has worked with P and Z to arrive at
Right, but
whatever conclusion they arrived at.
That was meant for a staff thing directly, though, but that's fine. It will be shown delete, if everybody else agrees, it will be shown deleted.
And I had one more. Attendance of the meetings, I don't know if we want to clarify that.
Which one's that?
Section
No,
is this?
I apologize, section
12.
12. I don't know if I'm been following something that I shouldn't be, but my standard practice has been to notify the city manager, city clerk, the mayor, if I'm not going to be in attendance or if I may be running late.
If I may, this one is meant for board and commissions because it says appointed member, so
Okay.
not necessarily, and not a council member.
Okay. And then, so can we specify who they should contact, just to make sure that they are doing that? Wouldn't that be the board president?
Well, it says staff designee assigned to the particular board or commission. So it'd be the staff individual.
And not the board president?
No, because, well, that's up to you, whatever you'd like, usually, and I don't know if it's easier for them to contact the leader of the department or whoever it is, but it's up to you, however you want that.
And so the clerk is not necessarily present at those meetings?
The clerk?
Mm-hmm. The city clerk?
Correct.
City clerk,
Right.
no, unless you want her to start going, I don't think.
And that's why I'm asking.
So for us, you send a text to me, the mayor, sometimes Joel and Kathy. It lets us all know. It's very much consistent with the spirit of this. For example, in the Parks and Rec, it would be maybe easier, but maybe it could be the board chair. It just depends on their relationships. But I think what this is recommending is to, for example, the staff rep, which would be Liz and/or Mary March, who would know and be able to tell. But we could say or.
And
board
or
chair.
is fine if that's what you want to do.
To me, it just seemed a little bit vague.
Then we'll put and or.
Thank you. And then I just wanted to comment on something. The situation that brought about even having this was it was a little unfortunate, I think. I hope that if situations arise in the future, that we maybe practice a little bit more courtesy. I was actually contacted by a few people in the community that said they were concerned at how this was brought to light, some of the conversations that had taken place about two specific board members, and that they felt like they would not want to ever serve on our boards, and that concerns me. And I don't want this to be a process of finger pointing or finger wagging or trying to shame somebody and saying, to say, embarrass or shame somebody. If there's things that are happening that shouldn't be happening, hopefully we can handle it internally, contact the appropriate board leader or staff member, and handle it a little bit more internally and rather than so publicly. I think we could have done a better job to bring this about to begin with. And I think it's important to remember that if we are going to try to create rules for other people, that we follow them ourselves. I think there have been some situations, we've talked many times about whether we have legal conflicts or perceptual conflicts. And I would just say that with the perceptual conflicts, that seem to have been what these two specific board members had. There was no legal conflict that we had found. That we follow the same process that we expect these other people to follow. And so with that, Your Honor, I thank you for
Your Honor,
giving me a chance to speak.
Yes.
I'd like to say something. That this whole thing should have been done a long time ago. And because of the items brought up on two board members, there was things going on over and over and over again by members of this council, as well as board members, and it had to be brought up, and it had to be brought up in public for transparency. And sometimes it's unfortunate, but sometimes it just has to be brought up. And I'm hoping with this code of conduct it gives everyone a guideline. There's no enforcement to this. Everybody can still go and do whatever they want and say whatever they want. But at least we have a guideline here for us to follow. So it's unfortunate that we even needed to do this, but with all of the media that's out there without any type of truth to it necessarily, other than just gossip, it's unfortunate that we had to do this, but I think it's extremely necessary that we do this to move forward. And I hope that we all can, whatever the final document shows, be able to abide by it. I think it shows a more professional approach to public problems.
Anyone else? I think we're looking for a motion to continue this.
And would you like to come back for a work session on the 4th and then for adoption on the 5th
I think so,
of March?
yes. So do we need a motion on that, or can we just do it?
You should probably have a motion on that.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion regarding that.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we continue this to the next city council meetings, which is, I'm looking to you, is April 4th?
March
4th?
and March 5th.
March 4th for work session and March 5th for adoption.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble. Councilmember Struble.
Yes.
I understand.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
I just forgot that next month is March.
Selection of meeting dates, times, and locations. Do we have a motion on upcoming council dates?
Your Honor, I
Yes.
move that an executive session at 6 p.m. and a work session at 7 p.m. be held on Monday, March 4th, 2019, and an executive session at 6 p.m. and a work session at 7 p.m. be held on Tuesday, March 5th, 2019, in the City Council Conference Room and City Council Chambers, 300 East Superstition Boulevard, Apache Junction, Arizona, respectfully.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes?
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Before we go on, I'm going to ask, Joel, can we have a paper copy of this in our boxes before the meeting next time?
Absolutely, I will do that. I extended that to you for this time, but nobody contacted me, so, but
Okay.
we'll definitely do that.
All right, we had one call to the public, but the gentleman that turned it in,
No, no,
he's back, never mind. So it's just time for a call to the public, and we cannot address it, but we can ask for staff to look into it. We have one, it is Frank Shanebeck.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. My name is Frank Shanebeck, 525 East Fred Avenue. I'm here again as representative of Mountain View Lutheran Church with some good news. We have a new pastor that I'd like you to meet. He's very interested in reaching out to the community, as is the whole church. Name is Pastor Timothy Anderson. And he's just joined us from New York, where he was the sole pastor of a congregation of approximately 18. He was used to doing everything. So it'll be a change for him to take a little more focused roles, and one of his focuses is going to be youth, which I think is a theme of the community these days, is we're trying to get our youth more involved in everything. And Pastor Tim is going to help with our church doing that. As you well know, our church is trying to be involved in a lot of things, and this is going to further that direction. And if you have a few minutes after the meeting to say hi, that'd be greatly appreciated.
So that would,
Thank you very much.
we would have to mingle. So, yes, any responses?
We just wanted to tell you, welcome to Apache Junction.
I just hope he's from upstate New York and not New York City. So with that, we'll be adjourned.